Um, this is a video about the girl on the train, a book that came out in 2015 and was made into a film in 2016. Um, the main actor, Emily Blunt, was nominated for an Academy Award. She didn't get it, but the reviews were not particularly good. But here's why we are watching this movie and having an exam over it. There is a YouTube that I have put on the website of a woman who did a reading, what do you call it, challenge, and read this book. And she reviews the book and tells you essentially what happens. She doesn't give away the secret at the end, but you can look at that if you'd like. I wanted to tell you several things about the book and then the big reason we're doing this. There is an unreliable narrator telling you this story. In other words, you can't believe everything that the narrator says. As a matter of fact, there are three women at the center of this book. Rachel, who is Emily Blunt, the main character, Anna, and Megan. You don't believe everything they say. They are unreliable narrators. Nonetheless, you get the truth in the end. This is a very old writing kind of, what's the word, trick. Anyway, so don't trust your narrators. That's okay that they're unreliable. They'll get you to the story. Emily Blunt, the Rachel character, is supposed to, is an alcoholic, and she drinks all the time. She's hungover every day. She lies about her job for a year, gets up and goes on the train to a job she doesn't have in London, and her friend puts up with that for a while and then stops. One of the things that those of us who are not addicted to alcohol or drugs or something, I'm a little addicted to Diet Coke, but it's hard for us to think that you could cover that up, that level of alcoholism, that level of lying for very long. But the truth is, alcoholics can cover things up. They are experts at it because they've been doing it for so long. So hang in there with that and just take their word for it. She does find out things about her alcoholism, though. So I think the movie is better than the book, and you certainly can watch the movie. The test is not going to be any worse if you watch the movie or read the book. And as our reviewer says, the YouTube I put up, there are parts of the book that just get a little bit tedious. So if you like to watch the movie, it'll help you with the book and tell you what's going on. I'm not sure I'll use this book next year, but you all can send me what you think about it. It is a hard read. Now, the reason that I want us to read this book is because it's about gaslighting. Gaslighting is a form of manipulation where the manipulator tries to sow seeds of doubt, questioning one's memory and perception and even sanity. Certainly questioning one's feelings. Now, I don't get to think about my divorce very much. Well, I do, but not all the time, and certainly I'm happy with that and let's get on with our lives kind of thing. But one of the things I'm trying to teach you is to watch out, and watch out for your friends too. Gaslighting is a form of psychological abuse that certainly was used on me, and it was years before I figured out what the heck was going on. long after I got out of the relationship and was on my own and able to think and go back over some conversations. It is also called ambient abuse, where false information is presented to the victim, making them doubt their own memory, perception, and quite often their sanity. The classic example is from a movie that came out in 1944, where the husband thinks there's a treasure that he can steal from his wife. He marries her, in fact, because he thinks there's a treasure hidden somewhere in the house. It's a Gothic story, too, so it's kind of fun. But he makes her doubt her own sanity. He changes with the gaslighting. He goes to look for this treasure, and the gas dims. He does these things on purpose. He moves things around the house. He puts money in her purse and takes money out of her purse. The classic example, I'm going to read this, is to switch something around on someone that you know they're sure to notice, but then deny knowing anything about it and say, you must be imagining things. A more psychological definition is an increasing frequency of systematically withholding information and providing false information, which makes people anxious and confused and less able to trust their own memory and perception. Now, this is a form of lying. And one of the things that, I think this was even on Wikipedia, an example given was Bill Clinton, who manipulated people so that they would, here it is, the Clinton administration's use of the technique, gaslighting, in subjecting Newt Gingrich to small indignities, which were intended to provoke him to make public complaints, which came across as hysterical and a little bit silly. Now, nobody got in a meeting and said, let's gaslight him. But people learn to do this, and they do it pretty automatically. And, of course, our current president, by the way, it's been used by Russian leaders, too, and our, saying, oh, no, we didn't do that. No, we didn't invade. No, nobody was hurt. And then, of course, it's often been used to discuss the actions of some of our current president's behavior, where he says, I didn't do that. And then they play a tape, and he did do it. He did say it. So, anyway, I try not to talk about politics, but you can look some of this up on the internet. In Gaslight, the movie, a husband attempts to convince his wife and others that she's insane by manipulating small elements of their environment. The husband insists that she just imagine things. This is kind of a devastating thing to be taught by this kind of manipulation, that your perceptions don't matter. That if you're upset about something, you're just being hysterical. That if you complain about something, you're being abusive yourself. That you said something you didn't say, or you didn't say something you did say. One of the things that often is done is the manipulation of money. Yes, there was money there. No, I did put that in the bank account. You took it. You have it. But the thing about being hysterical and too emotional is something that is often used with women. And it tells you that what you're experiencing, what you're feeling, the reality you just experienced didn't happen. And it's a way of of destroying the personality. Now, it gets gets pretty heavy sometimes, so you can think about this. And I really think this movie is maybe the best illustration of gaslighting, except for the original movie. I don't know why that hasn't been remade. The good news about gaslighting is that once you realize that's being done to you, you can speak up and you can say no. Sometimes, though, you get so beaten down and you've doubted yourself so much that you can see how it would add to abusive patterns, where the person abusing you says, I wouldn't have had to hit you if you'd had supper cooked on time. That is a kind of a blatant abuse, but of course we know that women believe it, and men, of course, do too. The reverse often happens. When it first starts out, of course, it starts in stages. You just don't believe what's going on, and then you start defending yourself. That's when the abuser says, oh, you're way too sensitive. You get all upset over anything. And the third stage, according to most psychologists, is, well, I lost that word right there, is depression caused by this kind of manipulation. Here are some questions that you can look these things up if you'd like to on the internet, but these are just some things I looked up. You're constantly second-guessing yourself. You ask yourself, am I too sensitive? Am I crazy? Surely that didn't happen. I remember exactly the day we went there, and yet he says we never did. You often feel confused. You're always apologizing. Sometimes you get depressed. You make excuses. Now, this I think is true of all abuse. The worst thing about what they call domestic abuse or abuse within families is you love these people. When a loved one abuses you, I've often said if someone walked up to you and hit you on the shoulder on the street, you'd call the police if they whopped you one. But we know that men and women get hit all the time and don't report it. In fact, they make excuses for their mate, as we saw in the Anna Quinlan book. And you find yourself not telling people things because you don't want to get into a discussion about it. You feel like you can't do anything right. You're not a good enough wife, mother, girlfriend, employee, whatever. And the good news is that knowledge is power. Once you realize what's going on, you can talk back, you can stand up, you can get more enjoyment from your life. You can say, I'm not going to talk about that right now. You can know what's happening if you know you're being gaslighted. Now, in the movie, nobody trusts Rachel. Nobody believes her. Even people who love her don't believe her. And then we see what happens at the end. Now, if the book is tedious, if the movie is tedious for the middle part, hang in there, because the ending is an absolute knockout. All right. Please listen to the other YouTube where she will tell you most of what happens in the book. And the exam will be, there'll be a quiz over this lecture, and then we'll have an exam next week. Okay? We've only got a month left. Hang in there.